Hello.
Hi,
How you doing?
good. How you doing?
I'm good. How's everybody else doing?
Doing good.
That really?
I speak for the people.
You speak for
See,
the
there's
people.
Lorax who speaks for the trees. It's fine. It's fine. He can do that. It's a little audacious. I think it's a little bit. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's a liar. I mean, how can you prove that you speak for the trees? The trees don't have any things like they can't pipe up for him. They can't agree with him or disagree. They just sit there. So the Lorax, I don't
He
know.
might be full of it.
He might have some problems up here.
He might.
He might. But his one redeeming quality is his only one and only redeeming quality is that he has the voice of an angel.
Oh, some might say you
Um
have the voice of an angel.
no, um my voice is nowhere near as good as Danny DeVito's.
Well,
I love Danny DeVito.
mm,
He's awesome.
those are some pretty big shoes to fill, or maybe small shoes to fill.
they're about my size.
Right
Okay, they
on.
they might be a little small.
That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah, welcome to our first stream of the year. It's gonna be a good year.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have lots of streams this year. One every week on this particular show. It's gonna be cool.
Whoa, that's a commitment.
I know.
Um, luckily, we've been upholding that commitment for many years now, so
we
it
we have we
shouldn't
have.
be a problem.
It's awesome. You know, this is honestly this is one of my favorite times of the week to do this show.
Mm.
I mean, to hang out with all of you guys, it's so great. So welcome everybody. This Don't Worry Wednesday. This is our Wednesday show. We do on Wednesdays. And you're not supposed to worry today. Even though if you're like me, I still catch myself worrying on Wednesday every once in a while.
Mm.
And I know, like
Wednesday's your day off
Wednesday,
from worry.
yeah, well,
I
it's
take a
supposed to
break.
be,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Doesn't always work out that way, though, I'm sure,
Mm-hmm.
for everybody. But anyway, this
That's why
is a
God made
show.
Wednesdays.
Huh?
That's why God made
God
Wednesdays.
made Wednesdays for not worrying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, for not
perfect.
worrying. It was
Perfect.
gonna be it was gonna be 6 days in a week, and he's like, "Nah, they need another day to not worry."
Uh
Mm-hmm. We're very lucky.
huh. Tough. Well, as good as Thursday. You can worry all you want. Hey, you know what? Go for it, buddy.
Oh yeah, have fun. Yeah, enjoy your worrying Thursdays. While I'm still in Wednesday, I'm gonna sit here and not worry.
All right. That's cool. So yes, this
Mm-hmm.
is a show this is all about you guys. This is you know, about your topics. That's it.
That's it. Jinx.
I know, isn't that crazy? So anyway, yeah, this is a show about any challenges, any thoughts, any types of issues you might be going through. Feel free to let us know. Feel free to put them in the chat. You can post them on our website at bss.studio. You can send us an email, dww@bss.studio. You can find us on Discord, and Princess has there in the chat all of our Discords and our numbers and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
you can feel free to DM us anytime. And if you have a topic, you can send it there. The email and Discord are the best places if you want to remain anonymous. Just let us know that you want to be anonymous, and we'd be happy to keep it that way. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, yeah, I don't know. How's your year going so far, Ryan?
5 days in,
5 days.
things are going pretty good.
Today is the 5th.
Yes. Have you made any resolutions?
No,
Me
I
neither. I've
skipped.
never made. Yeah, I've never made a resolution, and I'm not trying to say like you guys should follow my footsteps. I've never made a resolution because I've always felt like if I'm gonna take the time to make a resolution, I'm not gonna wait for New Year's to come around to do it. I'm just
Hmm.
gonna make a resolution when I figure out I need to.
Yeah.
So I've never made a resolution. I've made fasting things, but nothing to do with New Year's.
Yeah. I did. You know what? I've done a lot of years where I've had New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Resolutions. Yeah. And so I've done a few of those. Well, many of those because I've been around many years. and that most of the time they don't work out.
I hear that.
Most
hear
of the
that
time
most
I
of the
don't
time.
stick with them. There was one year in particular where I actually stuck with my resolution, and it's because I started it on December 1st. So then by the time the end of the month came around, it was already a habit, because it takes like 28 days to start a new habit, right?
Got it.
And so then I was able to just continue the habit. So that's the key to New Year's resolutions, if you ever wanted to know. The key is start
before
them
the resolution.
December 1st. So then by the end of the month, it's a habit. And then,
Aha.
But you got to learn to stick through the month of December, which is hard, especially if it's some kind of dietary resolution. Because then you got to get through the Christmas season, like with your dietary resolution. And man, I don't know about you, but I even ate chocolate this year.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I was there. I witnessed it.
You witnessed me eating chocolate.
In my house.
At your house, I ate chocolate. Your mom gave it to me.
Yeah, my mom made you. She didn't make you. She didn't twist your arm. You welcomed it.
She said, "Here, have some chocolate." I said, "Okay."
You actually said it's Christmas, so I can.
It's Christmas. I'm eating chocolate. It's Christmas. It's great. Yeah. So anyway,
I remember that.
Yes. Oh wow. So we got some resolutions going on here. Man, oh man. Ash made a resolution to drink more water. So far, I'm failing. Worse than I was last year. Hey, you know what? But you can always start any day. That's one of the things I always talk about. If you're trying to get rid of a bad habit or replace a bad habit, or get rid of an addiction or something in your life, they're like, hey, if it's going bad, just get back on the wagon. Just dust yourself off and start again. And eventually, if you keep trying, you get there.
That's entirely true. Yeah, like if you go, I have a resolution, but as soon as I fail once at it, I'm no longer going to have that resolution. Well, it's not a good system. It's better to go, like if I fail at it, oh well, I missed that day. Next day's the next day. Gonna continue the best I can. And then you're actually going to be productive, because otherwise you're just like not productive at all.
Right. Then it's like you miss one day and then you're all like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, there goes that one. You might as well binge.
Yeah.
Yep. That's actually built into my reading plan. I have a plan to go through that goes through the Bible and the Catechism in a year, and it's actually built into the thing where like the instructions. The instructions.
I never realized instructions and destructions, constructions were all instructions. Wow,
they're all kinds of instructions. Yeah. But yeah, in the instructions it says, blah 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 blah, and then it doesn't actually say those words, but
obstructions. Okay, sorry, that was an obstruction. Go on.
And it even has a little thing where it's like, I commit to doing this every day, and if I don't, it's okay. I'll just start again the next day. So it's right in there. So the self-forgiveness is built right into this, which was pretty cool. Because that's cool. A lot of reading. It ends up being like 20 to 30 minutes of reading every day, And so some days it's just like, I don't know if I'm going to read all that.
And how fast of a reader are you?
Moderate.
And understanding it. That's really important.
Moderate. I would like to say a relaxed, fast-paced reader, maybe.
Okay.
Not a speed reader.
I'm a very slow reader.
Yeah.
It probably would take me twice as long as you.
Yeah, I don't know. We should race.
Maybe not. I can tell you, I read short messages quickly, but as soon as there's like a more than 2 or 3 sentences, it becomes very slow. Which is odd, but
yeah, weird.
That's how it goes.
Weird. Yeah. So anyway, welcome everybody. We're glad you're here. You guys are amazing. And we've got some topics that we could go through. And yep, like I said before, if you have something you'd like us to talk about, please let us know in the chat. Excuse me, and we'd be happy to talk about it. But let's take a look at our list here. Our list is getting shorter. Shorter list over here. So let's see. All right. If I call your name, let us know you're here. We'd be happy to do your topic. And if we don't hear from anybody, then we're just gonna talk about whatever we want to talk about because
we do have some old topics
we could just do that. That's true. We could totally do that.
Probably better.
But all right, it'd probably be better than just inventing a topic.
Then just we'll find out.
Yes. All right. Well, here's the list: LG, Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Sparrow, and Nihilus. And if you guys are here, any of you, if you heard your name, let us know. Give us a what's up with your mom and dad in the chat.
What's up with your mom and dad?
Yeah, we're bringing that one back. And we'd be happy to do your topic. Kat, you can't read. You're pretty good at writing. Do you have like voice activated typing?
I think they're lying. I can't. Have you graduated from college yet? Anyways, having taken several years of college as Kat, I can't imagine that she doesn't know how to read.
Well, I saw a TikTok from you, Kat, where it looked like you typed in some stuff on there.
She can write. She just can't read.
Okay.
The showman.
Shadow Man.
Shadow Man type.
Oh my goodness, right. You are surrounded by shadow men. I'm concerned for you. I'm not worried because it's Wednesday. I'm concerned.
Don't be. If they seem to be on her side, so it's fine.
All right.
Maybe she's the queen of the shadow men.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I want to be queen of the shadow men.
I don't think you do.
No.
Nah.
Maybe. That'd be a lot of responsibility. Can you imagine?
As I was about to say, it's a lot of responsibility.
Oh my gosh. I like my new job.
Yeah, because there's less responsibility.
Today my workstation was a drum set. I have a cool job.
It was cool. I saw a picture. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Ash wants some shadow men. Mm-hmm. They are pretty reliable. I have a shadow man who follows me around all the time. Kat, did you tell this shadow man to follow me?
Yeah, it seems like you may want to follow me too.
He doesn't follow me in the dark though, which is nice.
Most of the time I don't have one because or maybe they're just ninjas and it's hard to see them in the dark.
Ninjas.
I'm not sure.
Yes. They're invisible in the dark. But so is everything else.
Does not bode well for anyone who goes against the queen of the shadow men.
Ah, yes. Oh my goodness.
That's how you keep tabs, huh? All right.
Well, I tell you what, why don't we just start with we haven't seen LG since May 12th.
12th of last year.
Yeah, so I think probably what we'll do is we'll just start with LG's topic called attachment. And maybe we can get a message to LG letting them know that we did their topic, and they can watch the video later or something. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Princess has the link right there.
Maybe someone else can relate to it.
And it's totally legit because I just clicked on it. I did. Send them to find out some info on Criminal Idol Season 2. Please do. We would like to know. I want to know info on Criminal Idol Season 2. Don't you, Ryan?
I would love to know some more about it.
Oh my gosh.
If you can find the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really nice.
I second that sentiment. So, Kat, I'm so glad that you're keeping tabs on us. All of us. With the shadow man.
One of us.
Because, I could definitely use some keeping tabs on. If that's how you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Tabs kept on? I don't know. Forgive me. You don't even know how to say it either.
No.
I'm breaking your mind. I can tell.
I think you just put kept before earlier. You put kept earlier in the sentence and it's going to work a lot better.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, kept you keeping tabs? Kept you tabs on me?
You could just say tabbed.
Tabbed. There we go.
You've tabbed me.
Have I?
I feel like now, like when they do that to an animal and they put the little um tag on them.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be tagged, not
Yeah.
tabbed.
But that's still what it feels like. But it's with a shadow now instead of like a piece of plastic.
Well, that's good because that probably is less painful.
Yeah.
You're not
All right.
getting a piercing out of the deal. So
Tag, you're pregnant.
What? What? Where did what? Oh my goodness.
That's how it works. That's how it happens.
That's how it works. Be
Uh-huh.
careful out there, everyone. That's how
why
it works.
that's why there's like that's why you're running when you're a kid, you know? Like when you're a kid and you really want to get into that game, you change the rules a little bit and it's not tag your age, it's tag you're pregnant.
Tag you're pregnant.
And it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of commitment for a kid. Next 9 months, you know, and the rest of your life. So you really run quick. You really run real quick. Climb trees. You do dangerous stunts when you know that's what's on the line.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I just had to say it. Apparently, I was watching a StarCraft streamer and someone who plays a video game on Twitch, and they were talking about the different names of people that they've casted, and they've casted hundreds of people, probably maybe even 1,000 people they've casted over the course of their career.
Mhm.
And they said their favorite name so far that they've ever witnessed was Tag You're Pregnant. Just as someone's name that they named themselves.
Oh my gosh.
That's a pretty good name.
That's fantastic. Ash, you don't feel like your boyfriend would like pregnant tag? No? Probably. I don't think very many people would like pregnant tag,
No,
really.
I don't think very many.
That's
There might be. There's a few out there. There's a few out there who would.
Probably
most-
a few. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh my. Okay, well, let's move on to our topic. This is called attachment, and it's from LG. And Princess had the link up there, but it's already past my chat thing. So you're going to have to scroll up to find it, or unless somebody wants to re-put the link on there. Because, man, we talked about a whole bunch of weirdness. So what happens when you tag back? Oh, my.
Wow.
Come on.
Do you transfer pregnancy or do you just
Right,
get both
right,
people
let's
pregnant?
move
That's the
on.
question.
What's the what?
I didn't ask the question. I just answered it.
Attachment by LG.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness.
How do you let go of that attachment when it feels so comfortable? I've prayed and all that, but the thoughts kept coming back to me, and sorry, I think the eye is not meant to be there,
Yeah.
and my flesh wants to hold on to that negative feeling because it's just. So in that anger, how do I let go of it? It's just so frustrating because I'm a Christian and I keep failing in this area of my life.
Well, thank you, LG, for that topic. I definitely understand this sentiment. Oh my gosh, because yes, I've been attached to many, many things, and sometimes it's people, sometimes it's just stuff, sometimes it's goals, sometimes there's all kinds of things that we can put an inordinate attachment on. And then sometimes that attachment can go so far into addiction and we don't even realize it until we try to stop it. And then all of a sudden it's like really hard. I mean, Ryan probably hasn't struggled with this at all, except for maybe once. And so
I don't know about that.
So he's going to have some really good ways to avoid this. Some really good advice. But actually, no, LG, I know where you're coming from. I've had to work through this so many times. And they can be sneaky too. Maybe it's a feeling. Maybe it's a feeling towards someone and we become attached to that feeling. Maybe it's, the person themselves. We become attached to them. Maybe it's, something we're doing. Who knows? But there's all kinds of ways to get attached. And then how to release those. Sometimes it's a process. Sometimes it takes a lot of, trying again and again and again and again and again. And, I think we talked about that a little bit with sticking to your New Year's resolutions at the beginning. If you fail, it's okay. We're all human. We're all fallible. And so we can get back up and we can try again. But anyway, I'm going to get out of Ryan's way and I'm going to drink some mug water. And Ash, you should have some mug water too. Since it's your
Good call.
resolution to drink more water.
Yes.
The best water is mug water, just so you know. But anyway, Ryan, take it away.
Comes fresh from a mug.
Fresh. Exactly.
Yes. Anyways, I wish LG was here so we could ask some questions about maybe a little bit more specifics. But one of the things they said was that they want to hold on to the negative feeling because it's just. And they put just in quotation marks. Like they believe that their feeling, this negative feeling, is just. So in that anger, how can I let go of it is their question. And I think it's important at this point to recognize that anger is not a sin. It's not evil. Negative feelings aren't bad. And they can be just, right? And it's important to distinguish that. It is important to say that to yourself. And it's important to know that, because if you can realize that your feelings aren't necessarily wrong, then you're not at war with yourself. And when you're not at war with yourself, it's a lot easier to control yourself and manage yourself than it is when you are at war with yourself, right? If you think that you're not supposed to be angry when you are, it can be helpful because it will allow you to bottle up your anger. But in the long run, bottling it up we've heard many times, it's not good for you, right? If you recognize that you're angry and it's okay to be angry, sometimes you can let the anger get the best of you and you can explode bigger than you should. And that can be bad. It can be very bad, as we all know and probably have experienced. But there's a middle ground in between those two. And that's when you realize that your emotions, that your anger is justified. However, you have to use that anger to the order of what is good, right? For good. You have to use that anger for something good, as opposed to for something bad. The emotion in itself is never justified in the sense that the reason behind it is justified. What I'm trying to say is the emotion itself is just an experience. It's a response, right? And you could say it's justified that you have this feeling because of a reason, right? The reason justifies the emotion. The emotion doesn't justify itself, right? I'm angry because I'm angry is not justifiable, right? It's not. It's like, then that doesn't give you the right to act out in anger, right? I act out in anger because I'm angry. That's not justifiable. I act out in anger because of X, and that is justifiable. Does that make sense? I'm trying to be really logical, but I hope that makes sense. Like, because it's important to know that just because you're angry, it doesn't mean you're allowed to do whatever response you want, right? I think we all kind of realize at this point, like, oh, I'm angry, so I'm going to punch a goldfish, right? Sure. It doesn't make my action okay to punch a goldfish.
Yeah, no.
When is it ever right to punch a goldfish?
Never.
Never. Goldfish are never going to be threatening you.
Don't punch goldfishes.
Don't punch goldfish, right? And so you can say my anger is justified, but my action isn't necessarily justified by my emotion. My emotion is justified by a situation, but my action isn't justified by my emotion. So it's the action ultimately which has to have control. So when you feel justified in your anger, there's nothing wrong with that. But there can be a wrong outcome if you don't recognize that your actions aren't justified just because of an emotion, right? So I think that's important to cover just because you brought up the topic of anger and letting go of it is the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So when you feel this anger, when you feel whatever it is, maybe it's not anger, it could be anything, as a reaction to anything. How do you let go of it? How do you get to that step when a lot of times you just want to hold on to it? Kind of like you said, you're attached to this feeling and it's comfortable to feel this feeling now. Maybe it's been around for a long time and it's just what it is. How do you let go of that? There's a couple of different things that you can do to help you sort of begin the process of letting go of these type of things, especially like negative feelings and so on. Step one is to acknowledge it, right? Which of course you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Step two is to recognize that it's, I guess, the logical side of it, which is what we just covered. To understand it, to understand what's wrong about it and what's right about it, because that allows us to have more. What it does is it connects our subconscious to our conscious, right? It connects all of these things that are going on in the background to our forefront of recognizing what is right and what's wrong, right? It pulls all this stuff from the background into the front to see, right? Of what's right and what's wrong. What part of this is good, what part of it is bad. Because when we do that, then we can start to pick sides, right? And then you can split them up and say, okay, this stuff is good, this stuff is bad, this stuff I want to throw away. I want to focus on the good things. So if you want to try to get over something, focusing on the good allows your brain to create a new habit of focusing on the good, which is ultimately what you're trying to do when you're overcoming this feeling, this habit of feeling or habit of negativity, this sort of thing. It can be comfortable to be negative. I mean, if you've been negative for so long, it's just your natural response. When someone says something, you immediately think negative thoughts, and that's just the process. I think it's important if you're a type of person that immediately comes up with negative thoughts or negative feelings or negative actions when someone says almost anything, right? If you're in the habit of being negative, one of the best things you can do is go through that same process we just went through. Think about what is going on and find the good in it and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a negative thinker doesn't mean that you are a bad person. Okay, so if there's anybody out here who's like, man, I have negative thoughts all the time and I just want to get rid of them, there is good to negative thoughts, right? We can recognize that. When you have a negative thought, you're finding problems. You're finding problems in society. You're finding problems with the mechanics of something. You're finding problems, which is good. In fact, what do they say about basically any business ever? That it's successful because it solves problems,
Mm-hmm.
right? It finds a good problem and it solves it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what good businesses do. That's how people make money generally, right? You find a problem and you solve it and you make money, right? There's nothing wrong with being a problem finder. If you're negative, there's nothing wrong with being negative all the time. Rather, there are things that are wrong with it, but there's good things too. So if you're that kind of person, that's where you're comfortable, that's where you've been, and it's hard to break that habit, then think about what it's like being negative and find within it the negative parts of being negative and the good parts of being negative. Distinguish those and focus on the good. Start performing that form of habit, but centered on the good parts. And that will start to overturn your habit and create a better habit out of it, right? I hope that makes sense. Guys and people in chat, does that make sense? Was that followable? was that understandable?
It was followable, I thought.
Okay.
I'm not
It's
chat,
kind of weird. Yeah.
I'm Joe.
All right. Good. Thanks, Joe.
It's my name
So yeah.
down there.
Wait, I thought it was pleb.
It is, but still on this show, my name is Joe.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. It was a little hard to follow. I think it's hard to understand because it's really, really strange and unique. But ultimately, you take a habit that you have, you look at it and you acknowledge the goods and the bads. You focus on the goods by practicing those good things, by carrying out your habit in the good senses and things that are good about it. You direct your attention towards that side. And over time, your habit will shift and change to become a good side of you. That is, if this habit is something of your personality or your nature or how you feel about things or how you experience things, right? If it's something like smoking cigarettes, for example, it's going to be a little hard to find good in that. There is technically some good to smoking cigarettes, but you can't just smoke a cigarette and go, okay, I'm only taking the good effects of this cigarette. I'm not taking in the bad effects.
Right.
It's not doable. So in many cases, if it's a habit of taking something into ourselves, then it doesn't apply. But if it's a habit of something that happens within ourselves, like an emotion or an experience or the way we think, right? That can be made good. If it's something from within that goes outwards, you can use this process. If it's something that's outwards that comes inwards, it's hard to use this process. But that's my first. That's ultimately what I'm going to start off with before I give it over to Joe, and I hope that it made sense. It was rather confusing. It's a rather. I don't think anyone's ever really talked about that form of habit or attachment oriented solution. No one's ever really given a solution like that on like a stage or anything. It's really weird, but it doesn't mean it's false. It's just a really different way of thinking and going about solving problems. And so I just wanted to put it out there because it's unique, and it's doable and it works. But it's just a lot of times people don't talk about that side of it from any stage or anything you're going to hear. So it's really hard to flesh out because it doesn't have a whole lot of background or people who've talked about it before that I can pull from. So anyways, I'm going to give it over to Joe and stop rambling. Take it away, Joe.
You've done fine. No, thank you, Ryan. And I see there are some comments here that I wanted to highlight. Tef says, I'm angry, therefore I scream. And sometimes that can be a great outlet for anger. Kat says, I definitely understand the feeling. It's hard to let go of anger directed at someone or at any event, especially when it severely hurts you. Absolutely. And anger, it's not wrong to feel angry. It's benign. You know, that feeling, it can feel tense. It can feel stressful. And then Kat, you also have being attached but also angry at a person is one of the most painful things. You are so right. So like when you're attached to a person, that person is making you angry, that's a recipe for pain. And it's not very fun. I understand this, right? Now, one of the things that's very interesting, if we're kind of going down the path of anger and it says, you know, your comment or your the topic says, but the thoughts keep coming back to me. My flesh wants to hold on to that negative feeling because it's just. So I'm guessing that means wanting to hold on to the anger because it feels like the anger itself is just. And sometimes, and yeah, there is just anger. When there is something going on that makes you upset, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's actually healthy to be angry and, you know, to express that anger productively. Now, we can express anger destructively, you know, by punching goldfish. The poor innocent goldfish, you know.
Poor innocent goldfish.
I mean, right? But, you know, anger is an important thing. We all feel it from time to time, much like despair, much like sadness, you know, much like, I mean, we feel these emotions, but emotions are temporary. You know that? They come and go. They get induced by all kinds of crazy things. Like we might be just, walking along, la da 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 da, and then we just see something out of the corner of our eye and it triggers an emotion.
Could be a good one.
Could be a good emotion.
Could be a bad one.
Well, is there a bad emotion?
Sorry, a violent one.
A violent one. Yep. But
it could be a sad one. There you go.
Any emotion can be used in a good way. I would posit that theory. And I've read a fair amount recently about anger stuff because one of my early assignments in my therapy when I started seeing a therapist was, you are handling severe depression. We did the inventory and that was what came up glaringly in my inventory was depression, severe depression. And so my therapist says, okay, depression in a lot of cases is frozen anger. What's happened is you've gotten angry, but then you've, made yourself feel like that anger was not legitimate and stuffed it down or buried it or whatever. And then eventually it becomes a slush fund and it freezes. And what happens when it freezes, it becomes depression and it consumes you and it just gets horrible. And that's very, very difficult to work through. And so my exercise from my therapist was, okay, you need to make yourself angry. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, and because it was. And she said, nope, you need to listen, listen to music that makes you angry. Think about things that make you angry and let yourself be angry. And in fact, cultivate that anger and feel it and let it course through you. Like, cause emotions make us feel things physically in our body, right? Anger, I can kind of feel it now. Just like I can remember making myself angry and feeling that tension and feeling like the buzz go through all the way out to my fingertips and just like zzz, And then what happens though is we can channel that emotion. Any emotion can be useful. Sadness is very useful in the healing process. When we cry, when we grieve, when we mourn, when, all of that stuff. I mean, that is healing for us to express sorrow through crying or maybe through confiding in someone or, talking through something or whatever and having those heartfelt moments that really does a really good job of opening our heart, softening it, and helping us to heal and get through that process. Anger is no less useful. It's a little bit different, but when we feel that emotion of anger, it can be directed at good stuff. So my therapist said, okay, so now that you've made yourself angry, when you get to that moment, do something with it. And, I have a martial arts punching bag. So I got some really good exercise. I also got some hand injuries, but that's okay. They healed. And, or drumming, that's another thing. She was like, play your drums and play them loud. I broke a lot of drumsticks. So it cost me some money. I was even more angry because of that, because then I had to spend money on more drumsticks. And, you're costing me money. I'm paying for these therapy sessions, and now I have to buy more drumsticks, right? Like... But there was one particular time. There was one particular time that this really got hit home for me. Okay, and I got angry about a situation that totally was unrelated to what I had to do. But I had this set of tasks that I had to do right now. I had documents that needed to get sent to the courthouse, and I had like 2 hours to get them there. Or my attorney was going to get them to the courthouse. And I had to go and find a notary public, have them notarized, and then email the notarized copies back to my attorney so my attorney could hand deliver them to the courthouse. And I had like 2 hours to do all this, right? Oh, and I had to read through the documents, review them, sign them, then have them notarized, and then sent back, and all this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then there was this other situation going on in my life that just really made me angry. Like, I was ticked. And what I did was, that emotion that I felt welling up inside, I used that to focus on what I needed to get done. I use that heightened sense of things, because when we're angry, like we're on point, right? And we can get something done, and we can go and aggressively attack something. Not that we should physically attack a person or a goldfish or whatever, but
Thank you, those poor goldfish.
Those poor goldfish. We keep coming back to the gold. Yeah. I'm sorry, goldfish. But I ended up getting through all these documents, and it was like boom, 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 one thing after another. All of the extra fat of, feelings about the situation just went away, and I was able to just laser focus on what I needed to do. And anger was very useful in that period. And then once I got done with everything, the anger started to subside, and I was able to relax a little bit, and it was like, okay, I made good use of that emotion. So just because you're feeling an emotion doesn't mean that it's wrong. In fact, I would say feeling an emotion is neither good nor bad, really. It can be used for good, and it can be used for bad. And the time you have with that emotion is limited, because it will pass. We all get excited about things once in a while, and then after a while, it's not so exciting anymore. Right? We get angry about stuff, and then after a while, we're not so angry anymore. Sometimes we get reminded of that anger frequently, and it's okay. But so, if anger is something that you feel is a challenge for you, then probably it just needs to be expressed in a positive way, in a productive way. Exercise is one of the best outlets for anger. One of the best. Because you really can work hard when you're angry. You can. And you can get a lot of energy out, and it can be great. And then you'll feel good. When you exercise, you get endorphins, you get more oxygen, all this stuff. I mean, these things make us feel good. And we can use it in that positive direction. We can use it to focus on something we need to do, as I was talking about with the court documents and all that stuff that needed to get done. It can be used in a positive way. As far as an attachment goes, many times we need to not be attached to things, or people, or feelings, or anything. An attachment, many times, is a lack of freedom. Now, we have brought this upon ourselves in a lot of cases. We allow ourselves to get attached to something, and now we are less free because we're compelled to act a certain way with relation to that attachment. So anytime we start to feel like we're attached to something, it might be a good idea to examine that and think about it and break it down in our head. Why am I attached to this? What is going on that makes me so compelled to this thing or this person or this idea or whatever? And then work through a process of letting go. And it can take a long time. And it can take a lot of effort. It can take focused effort. I go through this every morning now, where I have my morning meditation, prayer, and reading time. And then for like an hour after that, I review different attachments. And it's while I'm doing other things. I'm still physically doing things, but my brain, you can work on stuff and still be thinking about anything. And I will actually go through because this is something that I've learned I need to deal with. And I'll think about things I might be attached to. I'll think of different things that I might feel a compulsion to do, and actively try to let go of those attachments. And that can be really hard, and it can be painful. But man, when you're able to release some of these things, there's a lot more freedom. And when we're more free, it just feels better. I promise. So attachments, many, many, many times are unhealthy for us. And the thing or the person that we're attached to, like the goldfish. We might be attached to a goldfish. Goldfish doesn't like us being attached to it. The goldfish would be less free if I was attached to its tail or something, right? Wouldn't be able to get around as well. So anyway, hopefully some of that made sense. I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan and see what he has to say. Ryan, you got anything more?
Yeah, I've got two things. One of them is more of a side track thing. I'll start with that one. So we've got a discussion going on in chat about music. You said listen to music that makes you angry is what your therapist recommended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what that is exactly. I've never had a song make me feel angry, except for if that song is a song I richly despise and it's played on loop. At that point, I can imagine getting angry, but I've never experienced a sense of anger from a song that I like. Is that something you experience? Like certain songs, they get you pumped up to be angry or something?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like at all. I've never experienced that once in my life.
Cool.
I don't get it. Like I listen to power metal and it's like, and I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And there's like heavy death metal. There's like screamo things that I've listened to. None of it. I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. Most of the time it just goes like my energy level goes from here to here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. All right. Yeah, I can ride this wave. Or it'll be really intense music and my energy level goes from here down here. Because I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for it. It's a little bit intense, or it's being a little bit too strong, and it's unfavorable.
Yes.
It just makes me feel more exhausted than it makes me feel energized.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Kat explains it well. It's more like music you can release your anger through. It validates your emotions and stuff, if that makes any sense. Absolutely. So like,
okay,
you might listen to songs that, are saying things, that you would want to say to this person that's making you really angry. And so you think about that person while you're listening to this song, and it just helps churn the butter a little bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. I've had the opposite.
All right.
But I only ever had the opposite of that. Like I'll listen to a song and like I'll be upset at a person or something, and then I'll hear a song and then it'll be like, oh, that was a good release. I don't feel upset anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been like, oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. When you're at a rally or something and you have like a bunch of people who are like, it's usually like, I don't know, they pick the big man up top and they start picking on him. And so you're all kind of in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want to cut us down. They want to make us look like fools, but we're not buying it. And everyone's getting more and more pumped up. And I felt a part of that before, but music has never done that to me. I don't know.
Okay.
I can imagine music does that for other people. So I think that's probably the best analogy.
I had a lot of Rage Against the Machine.
There's a lot of white horses.
A
lot of white horses.
A lot of white horses?
No, the white horses. The white horses. That's the only Rage Against the Machine.
It's not white horses.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know. It's not white horses. It's not white horses.
You gotta look up the lyrics sometimes. It's white horses. Some white horses
are the same
Something
that burn
forces.
crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. That one. Some of
Probably.
those that work forces. I can see that you think white horses.
Oh yeah. Some of those the white horses.
Are the same that burn crosses. Uh.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the white horse song. It's seriously, it's not
Killing
white
in the
horses. I thought
name
it was white
of.
horses.
This show is not sponsored by Rage Against the Machine.
That song. Okay, I remember listening to that song for the first time. Again,
Now they do what you
I
told
can't
you.
imagine.
Now you do what they told you. That one.
Yes.
And then it
They
ends
just
with a
kinda
bunch
do
of
the same
swearing.
thing over and over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That would not make me angry. I just feel like the song is so silly. I'd be angry and I'd be like, I would be angry and someone would put on that song and I'd be like, please turn this song off. It's annoying. It's just annoying me now. It's not fueling my anger. It's just annoying me. I don't hate the song, by the way. I could just imagine me being annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Not rather than making me like pumped up or something.
Man, I listened to that song over and over again and played drums to it and kicked martial arts bag to it and yeah. With the swears and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Wow, that's fine.
I know. Horrible guy I am listening to swear music.
Wow. Jeez. Okay, anyways, moving on. The final thing I wanted to talk about was attachments. And that is how do you let go of attachments? And Joe covered this pretty well. If you spend some time thinking about the things that you're attached to and letting them go, by contemplating them and saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to give that up. I'm letting go of that. I'm not going to let that have any jurisdiction in my life. I'm not going to let myself be attached to that. I'm not going to, be a slave to that anymore. Type of thing. I think that's really helpful. Something else that you can, if you're not able to do that, which I can imagine a lot of people aren't necessarily able to do that because that requires a lot of fortitude, a lot of background. By fortitude, I mean a foundation. It requires a foundation of different skill sets that you might not have built up yet, which is fine. You'll get there. Another thing that I could recommend that you can start doing now that helps you let go of things you're attached to is to be thankful, to spend time actually sitting there in meditation, thinking about and being thankful for the things that you ought to be thankful for. And that sounds really simple and a little cliche, but here's how it goes. When you can think about the things that are in your life that you are thankful for, what happens is you actually release attachment to those things which you do not have. Okay? So we have desires, and if we can be more thankful for the things that we have than the things that we want, right? If we can lift up the things we already have to a higher degree of importance than the things that we want, we can train ourselves to not crave for material things or statuses, social statuses, and things like that, right? And that in part helps us let go of those attachments. A lot of times we have an attachment because of something we desire, right? Right? When you say, I have an attachment to this person, why do you have an attachment to that person? It's because you desire something from that person, whether it be an experience, a feeling, or a social stance, right? Those type of things are why we have an attachment to that person. Does that make sense? When we have an attachment to a physical item, right? It's because we desire something from that physical item. Again, whether it be an emotion, whether it be just having that status of, again, a social status or having power or whatever it is. It's usually when we have an attachment, it's ultimately because of a desire, right? And sometimes that desire is simply just to keep, just to hold, to be a hoarder, type of person. And many people experience that. But you can get over a lot of your hoarding or a lot of your attachments, a lot of your desires for these things. And not that desires are wrong. I think it's important to point this out. Desires are very good things, but desires in themselves, like I said before, are not justified. The reasons which the desires come from are justifiable or unjustified. But the desire itself does not justify you holding on to it or being attached, right? So if we can get our desires in line with what is just and righteous and good and helpful to the world, then our attachments can be all right. Or rather, our desires can be all right. Our attachments kind of depends on how you want to define attachments, but our desires can be okay if they're ordered to a good godly manner, right? So when you are thankful for what you have in your life and you think about those things, it can be anything. The toilet that I sit on when I woke up this morning could be a thing. I mean, the blankets I had on my bed, the fact that I had a bed, the fact that I have a house to sleep under, even if it's not mine. The fact that we live in an environment where I'm not dead because it's too cold or it's too hot. It's in that temperature range which I can withstand, and it's painful, but it's all right. You know, you can be thankful for many different things, right? There's always many things to be thankful for which you already have. And if you can be thankful for what you already have, you can decrease the desires for things you don't have or the things that you want. And by decreasing those desires, you actually decrease your attachment to things because you recognize that, hey, no matter what I don't have, I'm going to be okay. Why? Because when you're thankful for the things you have in your life, you start to recognize that you don't need as much as you think you need. You train your mind to recognize that you don't need as much as you think you need. You don't need all of these things to survive, and you don't need all of these things to be happy. And a lot of times we make a lot of our choices and we have all of our attachments because we think we will ultimately find happiness at the end of that tunnel. But happiness a lot of times comes from the release of all of these things. It comes from when you let go of all of it and you just are able to experience life without this weight of all of these attachments. You know, when you're attached to all these different things, what do you end up doing? Well, you're feeding a bad habit. You're creating a bad habit and you're feeding it, right? And then you're weighed down by it all because you're not free to just go wherever you want. You're stuck holding onto these objects that you've acquired. And so then you got to bring them with you wherever you go. It's a lot of baggage. We always refer to baggage as the opposite of happiness. And it's true for this case too. Even when those attachments are good things. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Even when those attachments are good things, they're still baggage. Mm-hmm. They're still baggage. To be able to let go of good things so that you can embrace greater things or new good things, etc., is important too. Mm-hmm. Even when something is good and you're attached to that goodness, sometimes that is holding you back from something great. And you have to be able to let go of that baggage as well. If you want happiness, it's not generally found in those things you've collected. But if you can be thankful, again, if you can be thankful for what you have, you can train your mind to recognize that it doesn't need everything you want to be happy, to have a good life. And then by doing that, you kind of come back full circle and realize all these things I just said I'm thankful for, I also don't need. I also don't need them to be happy. And then letting go of your attachments, now you can go through the process Joe was talking about. Now you can think about those things that you have or that you have going on in your life, whether they're good or bad. Sometimes you've got a lot of bad things going in your life and you just say, I'm gonna let go of that. I'm not gonna let it decide how I feel now. I'm not gonna let that weigh on my day, weigh down on my day. I'm going to just take that and say, it is what it is. I'm moving it to the side. I don't care about it anymore. This was good. This is a good thing in my life, but it's going to slow me down today. And it's going to slow me down. I don't need that. It's a good thing, whatever it is, but you know what? Being attached to it doesn't make me a free man. Being attached to it doesn't make me happy. The thing itself doesn't make me happy. Happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from satisfaction. And a lot of times, attachment is a result of dissatisfaction, not satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
When you're attached to something, it is almost always the result of culmination of things that happened in your life that were unsatisfying.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're attached to this object in order to be satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And that applies to so many things, so many addictions across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be satisfied, which is what happiness a lot of times is, being satisfied with yourself, then being able to just, go through that process of taking it and just saying, it's gone. I don't need to be attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
Being attached to that was something that I did because I thought it was going to make me happy. It isn't making me happy.
Mm-hmm.
Being attached to that is the result of a lot of unhappiness and me clinging on to it. And I don't need that. I can be happy without that. In fact, starting today, I'm going to be happy without it. I don't need it. I want to be happier without it now, because it's not doing anything for me. Sometimes we got to get to that point, and we got to do that for a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get to that point in our mind, finally sitting down and having this conversation with ourselves while we're sitting on the bed or something, and we realize there's a lot that we have to separate ourselves from. And that's a good thing to do. When you get to that spot, that's a good place. It's a painful place. It's a hard place. It's tough, but it is a good place to be, because it is the starting of something new in you, a change in you that will it's like coming in and resetting the foundation on a house so it will last another 400 years. It's like changing something at the root of you. And that's a lot of times really hard. When you're trying to change something that's at the root of your personality, or something that's the root of just the things that you've done over the past 10 years, right? And you go deep down and you start to work on that, make those big changes. They're always tough. They're always really somber and kind of a really interesting experience. Not always, but usually are. And this is one of those experiences, if you ever get to encounter that. And it's a very beautiful thing, however tough it might be. But anyways, that's my spiel on attachment. I think that there's a lot that Joe said that you can rewatch. And yeah, letting go of stuff is really important. So back to you, Joe.
Well, thank you. I don't know what else I can add. There's one bit of language that's helped me go through that exact process that you're talking about. And I've had to work through a lot of different ways and try a lot of different things. And one of the things that seems to be working for me now is to say the words, I'm on a whole new plane of existence now.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Why would I look back at that?
Yeah, I don't use that line, but I've used lines like it where you're just like, I'm better than that now. I don't need that now, type of mentality.
Like, I've moved so far beyond that point when I was attached to that,
Right.
Like, and it doesn't necessarily even have to feel like it's true when you first start saying it to yourself, because and sometimes, one of the problems I have with affirmation statements is a lot of times they're lies.
Oh.
They always would say, hey, make these affirmation statements to yourself and say, I'm a millionaire. And then in my brain, I'm like, liar, you're not a millionaire.
You're not a millionaire. What the heck is that, dude?
Right. But so if
Lie to me.
if you don't feel like you've moved on to a whole new plane of existence, you can say, I am moving to a whole new plane of existence. Because then you can wrap your head around it. But that whole just the idea of moving on to a better existence, moving on to a richer existence, or a freer existence, words that, get that thought into your mind, that can really help loosen attachments. And almost when you look back at the attachment, you can be like, oh my gosh, I was really silly that was really silly of me. And then maybe I can take myself less seriously and I can laugh at myself and be like, ha, boy, that was really silly of me. Oh my gosh. I try not to use the word stupid. I try not to use the word, boy, was I an idiot, or something like that. I try not to degrade myself. I used to do that a lot. My therapist like really kind of put the kibosh on that. And she was like, no,
Give yourself the band hammer.
forget that, except she used a shorter F word. And because that's my therapist. She's like that. She's fun. But anyway, but that's really been helpful recently as I'm working through some of these things. Is like, man, like I have moved beyond that so far. I am moving beyond that, and like, holy cow, and it just kind of snaps me into shape, where I'm like, why am I so doggone, why am I a mess over this? Like I'm past this. I'm beyond this. I'm on a new level of existence. Like this should not be an issue. And if it is, it's okay. Maybe there's something that I need to dig into that's a little bit deeper and let go of. And like Ryan was talking about, be thankful for things that I do have. Redirect the focus to the things that I'm thankful that I do have, that I'm satisfied in. So then this other dissatisfaction can start to loosen its hold, right? Think of things to be thankful for. Think of people to forgive. Think of things to forgive. And let go. Like those are healthy ways of letting go. But emotions, you can express them. It's okay. You don't have to be violent in expressing anger. It can cause you to focus and get a lot of great things done. You don't have to become dependent in sadness. It can be a very great healing process of release, of letting go. Cry if you can. Write. Who knows? Channel emotions positively. Learn how you do that. Because we all do it a little bit differently, clearly, because I use music to make myself angry. Ryan can't do that unless...
I might be able to do
probably
it.
that same song, the same song that was making me angry, if I looped it, you'd be angry because you'd be
That's
like...
exactly what I mean. Like the only time a song would make me angry would be because I think the song has gotten to the point where it's become aggravating, but not because the song is fueling my anger. It's completely different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's totally, yeah. I gotcha. But anyway, wow, that was a great topic. Thank you. And somehow in the chat, we're back to pregnant tag.
Yes, somehow. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, Ash.
And your boyfriend.
Sounds fun.
Ash, did you send him a tag you're pregnant? Like as like a I'm going to bet you didn't you? You're like, hey, I haven't talked to my boyfriend yet. I'm gonna send him a message real quick. Tag, you're pregnant. And he...
What?
Yeah. Well, apparently,
like, what are you saying?
Perfect.
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 Great. All right. Anyway, wow. That was a fun end to that topic. Back to pregnant tag. Anyway, thank you, LG. If you listen to this, thank you so much for the topic. And thank you guys in the chat for helping us through this topic as well. It is great to read your guys' comments and hear what you're thinking. Because seriously, we're up here talking, but we don't know everything.
Yeah.
We learn from you guys all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we learn because we get a topic that we're like, I don't know how to answer this, but I'm going to do my best and wing it, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to wing it by going through different things that happened in my life and
yeah.
hope I come up with something that's actually useful to someone.
It's going to be good. And then I'm going to hand it over to Ryan, and he's going to be brilliant and wise, and that's going to be great.
I
So.
can't do that, unfortunately, because I don't
man.
get to hand it over to myself and be like, oh, yeah, he'll do better.
I can hand it to you.
I have to hand it to you, man.
You can.
That's
and
weird.
You can hope, but man.
Yeah. Well,
wish in one hand, you know, like, hey. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thank you so much, LG. You're awesome. And yeah, thank you for the great topic. But anyway, let's move on. If any of you guys have a topic, yes, Kat, you do have many things you could teach.
Oh, yeah.
The entire Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh wait, wasn't that the TikTok that you had put through Discord was one of your coworkers, I think, explaining the lore of FNAF to your boss or something like and the boss was just like, like that was that was hilarious.
That's
Oh, you
great.
dared him to?
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Anyway, yeah, Meow, if you have a topic, we'd be happy to cover it. I'll go through the list real quick, and if you want to put together your topic while I go through the list of names, that'd be great.
Hey,
The
20
names
seconds.
go as follows. Toast, Immature Success, Amira, Sparrow, and Nihilus. And if any of you heard your name just now, then we'd be happy to do your topic. Meow.
Pipe up.
Huh?
I said pipe up.
Pipe up. That's right.
Mhm.
All the talk about punching goldfish reminded me about the improv stream on The Fish Are Drowning. Was
Oh
that
my
you?
gosh, the fish. Yeah, the fish drowning. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The fish, the fish, the fish.
My friend just sent me a gif of 3 grown men tagging each other a bunch. I'm sure that's not pregnant tag.
Hey, you're pregnant.
You rewatched Criminal Idol recently. You were thinking we could have a topic about it.
Ah, so
about
it's not.
Criminal Idol.
Yeah,
We
so
could
struggles
launch
about
this
criminal
new
idol.
year with some Criminal Idol talk, huh? Man, well, you know what? I know a guy.
It's you. Hi, hero.
Well, Joe is in fact a guy, so
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I know a little bit about Criminal Idol.
Mm-hmm.
I
You
didn't
know just
write,
about as much as I do.
I didn't write the book, but I helped assemble it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
really?
you know, just basically just about as much as I do on Criminal Idol. As for Criminal Idol, I will say that most of the voice acting has been done. It is finished. We've got 2 characters left to submit their stuff, and they're working on it.
Yeah, we'd really like to pay
unfortunately,
them.
We did.
We did pay
Well,
them?
sorry, no, the 2 people that are left. No, we haven't.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. We're
Yeah.
paying people before they send us.
No, they didn't. They didn't send in yet. So, I should make a Starblush song. Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I should. As for the music, it's coming along. Don't have anything in 100% done yet because we have a lot that I think I want singers to sing, and a lot of lyrics to work.
Why would
through.
you want a singer to sing it?
Sorry, I meant one of the voice actors to sing. That's what I meant to say.
I was like,
That's so dumb.
you don't want singers singing. Why would you want
Yeah,
that?
I want speakers singing.
There you go.
There. Yeah. But as far as the art goes, it is at ground zero because it has collapsed twice. And so now we have to find another new artist again.
Yeah.
And that quest is the beginning of a long quest.
Honestly,
So-
nobody wants to work with us. They meet us and then they're like,
Yeah, that's not true. But all right. No, it's the other way around. It's like they meet us and like, hey, can I work for you? And it's like, we don't have anything for you to do. Okay, well, when you do, hire me. Okay.
Yeah,
That happens a lot.
it does.
Yes.
Hey, you know
Kat,
how
I
long
saw
it took? You know how long it took me to get a job at Black Satin and Swerve? I've owned the company for like 10 years or 11 years.
Yeah,
I've
and
been
that's how
part
long it
owner of
took-
the company, and it took me that long to be a full-time employee.
Yeah.
So hey, you got a decade? Hold on.
Yeah, you got a decade. You got a decade to waste. Nice. So, Kat, yeah, I saw that you.
you also
well,
have a
of course, you
talking
sent a
from
message.
Baka, I believe.
Oh, we do?
Yes, that appeared 51 minutes ago.
Oh,
Oh.
well then,
I did
Bago,
not
you
see
should.
that right away. So
Thank you.
It is A.
was just gonna say- Kat has had put a picture on sharing of her. I don't think the cosplay was finished because she needed a wig.
Yeah, she needed
But-
the wig. She had the flower though.
Yeah, it was looking awesome. It
Mm-hmm.
was looking great. So
What about
way to go,
Kanasaki?
Cat. It was super cute.
Oh, talking
Hmm?
about for artwork?
Yeah, no, he's too busy. He's too busy. I messaged him before.
Yeah.
I could message him again, but
Yeah. You can do bald Haruka. Hey, I can
Ooh.
do bald Joe.
Wait, how do you put the hairpin in the bald? How do I get? Do you like take a piece of tape and tape it to your head?
No, because tape doesn't stick to your head.
Oh, what do you do? Glue?
No, staple.
Oh,
Just staple it to your skull with one of those, like
oh. Really big staples.
those big carpentry staplers, you know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give you a. I have to give you
You'll be like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Then you can't get through metal detectors. I know.
All right. So what's Baka's topic? It's yeah. That's the problem. That's the problem, Joe.
What?
It's not the fact that you're putting something into your skull that's a staple and piercing yourself and making yourself bleed and damaging your brain possibly and all these type of things. No, it's that you can't get through a metal detector.
That's right.
Yeah.
See? That's the
I
issue.
love it. That's my type of humor, so I love it, Joe. Thank you for that.
Yes, I agree with Ash. Let's not staple our heads.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yep.
I don't think it needs to be said, but I guess for the lawyers out there, we do not condone stapling people's heads ever under any circumstances unless advised by a doctor in medical procedure.
All right. That's right. And
Yeah.
we're not, and I forgot to say this in the beginning, we're not professional therapists or anything like that.
Or doctors.
I forgot the legal disclaimer. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our staplers.
Oh man. Phew.
So
Okay. Well,
is this
Princess
the
has
link
the
for it,
topic there in the
Princess?
chat.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we can click on it. But yeah. No, I have not been watching Boba Fett. I wouldn't be opposed to watching Boba Fett. Is there any romance in it though?
Isn't
just
Boba
put that
Fett
out
the
there.
guy from
From Star Wars.
Star Wars? Okay, how do you don't? He's in just like a couple of scenes. You could watch him at any time. And yes, there's romance. You see, he's surrounded by women.
No. Like, I'm thinking it's a series, maybe on Disney Plus or something.
You could just watch
Boba
him.
Fett.
I mean, it's a lot shorter than the series if you just turn on one of the episodes and watch him.
Because
there.
I know in Star Wars there's romance. It's terrible, right?
It's kind of.
I don't think there's any romance. You know what? I've been watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I was thinking, hey, there's not going to be any romance in this. It's like, you know, people fighting each other and killing each other and action and blowing stuff up and everything. And then every once in a while they weave in some little romantic story and I'm just like...
You know what you can do? You can watch James Bond.
No.
No, hear me out. There's no romance in James Bond.
There is.
No.
There's
only
kissing.
Stupid, there's only stupid, lustful things, but there's no romance. There's no time for romance in a James Bond movie. There's no time for them to establish a relationship. It's just a girl wanting a guy. There's no real romance. It's just stupidity.
Still not gonna
Stupidity.
watch it. Still not gonna watch it.
Stupidity.
Stupidity.
I'm so stupid I can't even say
I can't
stupid right. I say stupidity. Stupidity.
All right. Well, let's go to this topic before we get any more farther off the rails talking about craziness.
All
like
right.
what's romance and what's not. Like don't even tell me. I know
He
these
touched
things.
my weapon, my gun. I handed it to him and he touched it. Oh, it's like secondhand kissing. It's romance.
Okay,
Joe,
moving
everything is
on.
romance.
Moving on.
Everything is
on.
romance.
Moving on.
Thank you.
I love you. We're moving on. This is Unforgotten Lost by Baka.
Yes.
Wrapping up the holidays, it's hard not to remember the one person in my family that's not there. Now it's starting to feel like the shock of it is fading away. Now the pain is setting in. It seems like the most random times when I feel pain. And every time I feel pain, I can't help but imagine future events that my father won't be there. My worst fear is that my graduation is one day before the year marking of his passing. And to be true, I'm just uncertain with the fear of the pain to come. From Baka.
Baka, thank you
Mhm.
so much for this topic. This is huge. There are some things I have to say about this. I'm not going to say much before I give it over to Ryan. But Baka, my heart goes out to you. This is so hard. And I'm proud of you for getting through the holidays, because sometimes, the first holiday season without somebody there can be so, so hard. And I understand. And, you know, ugh, my heart just goes out to you. But I understand it's starting to feel like the shock is fading and the pain is settling in. And it's random. You're absolutely right. Because even as we work through things, I'm going through a lot of this stuff myself right now with everything that's happening. And, sometimes you just have moments where you need to cry, or you need to go and stand outside and look at trees, or you need to go and, you know, get snot all over your pillow or whatever, right? And there are just times for that. And it's okay. Sometimes it happens at the most inopportune moments. I've never had it happen, but I can picture it happening where I get pulled over by the police because I'm speeding, and then all of a sudden the cop comes up, and that's when my emotions decide to break down right in front of this cop, and I start blubbering. It'd probably get me out of the ticket, though. Maybe not.
Yeah, the cop probably would be like, I just want to let this guy go. I'm done with it.
Yeah. But anyway, no, it can happen anytime, and it can be so hard. And so, Baka, I love you, man. And Ryan, take it away.
Yeah. Soaking Pillow has been summoned because of your statements about snot.
Mm-hmm. You have been summoned. Welcome, Soaking Pillow.
Yeah, Baka, I have to kind of say a quick disclaimer. I haven't lost anyone that close to me. The only person in my life that I've lost that was close to me was when I was quite young. I was probably, I'm sure I remember. I think it was actually I would have been 8 for real. Because that's when we got my great grandmother's piano into our house because she had passed. But when you're that young and you lose someone and it's your great grandmother, even though you're close to her, it's a bit different than when you're older and like a teenager or a college student kind of age and you lose your father. I think certain different parts of your life are harder than others, I'd have to imagine. And to lose a father at the age that you are now, I feel like would be a lot harder than if you were too young or already well into your adulthood, where you're already established and so on. Though I will say that no matter what, it's hard. I've said this many times. It's important to recognize that pain you feel is good. The pain itself is painful, and we want to say, "Oh, this is bad," because we don't like it. But just because we don't like something doesn't mean it's bad, right? Some children don't like green vegetables, but it doesn't mean it's bad for them, right? And that's a silly um, a statement that doesn't hold up to the gravity of your situation. But it's still true. Pain is good. It just doesn't feel good, right? The pain that you feel is a result of many things, right? Including the importance that person has, that the value of that person's life is incredible. It's it's beyond all things. That one person is so valuable, right? And Bach, I'm going to say this because I know you're a Christian, is so valuable. They're so valuable that God created the world for them. Right? To feel any amount of pain would be almost too little compared to their value. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, like you should feel the pain that is the pain of losing the entire world and everything, and that might be how you feel, but um as God, you know, as God once said to me when thinking about you know, what it's like when judging someone, you know, when they pass and he has to cast judgment. And you know, it's kind of a long story, but short version is, you know, God said basically, if you could even experience the pain that I feel when I have to pass judgment on someone, you would cease to exist. Meaning your very being, your every atom in your body would basically feel so much depression it would collapse and cease to exist. It couldn't even function as a thing anymore. It would just disappear from reality because it would be so sad. It would just collapse into nothingness, essentially. Because God's love for one person is to create the whole world and everybody else, right? This applies to everybody, but for that person, because he just had to have that person. He loved the idea of them so much. He just, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it. Here we go. And no matter what they suffered in their life, God still loved them that much. And no matter what they did in their life, what they did with it, whether it be good or evil, God still loved them that much. Knowing what they would do, just still loved them. And it was like, yeah, I gotta have it. Even though they're gonna betray me, even whatever, right? Gotta have it. Um, and so to feel the pain that you do for this person, for your dad, is appropriate and it's good because it's divine, it's heavenly, it's a fragment of what God feels because God loves that person too, right? And so I just want to say it's okay. It's okay to feel that. And it's okay to let that pain happen. It's okay to feel that. And it's hard because you know that it can really make you unproductive. Sometimes that pain is just gets to you and you're like, well, now I can't do anything for the rest of the day. I feel like I can't interact with the people during my holiday. It's the holiday. I'm supposed to be happy and I'm supposed to be interacting with people, but I can't because of this pain that I feel. I want to let you know that this sounds silly, but that pain that you feel is more important than interacting with other people. That pain that you feel is actually more important than being productive. Why? Because you're in the morning a person, a human being whose value is infinite.
Mm.
There's nothing you can do in this lifetime, no social interaction that you can have in this lifetime that's more valuable than a human being. You're like, I can put bread in the toaster, but that's not, it's like, that doesn't compare to the value of a human being. I can interact with this person, and sure, that's a beautiful thing. Interacting with other people is actually very valuable. It's very incredibly valuable because only because those people are valuable. So if you can do that, that's good. But don't plan on being productive and don't expect that. Don't look down on yourself, basically. Don't let the pain make you feel bad. I've said this about guilt. I'm going to say it about guilt again, and then you can yourself transfer that into your situation about pain. Guilt can be, wow, my focus keeps on changing. That's weird. Guilt can be godly or it can be devilish, right? Guilt is good by nature because it moves us in the right direction. It shows us that we were wrong and that we need to change things, right? That's guilt. But there comes a point in our life where, or there comes a point throughout our process where guilt is simply the devil's playground. Because when we hold on to that guilt, we just start attacking ourselves, right? We beat ourselves up. When we feel guilt, we beat ourselves up, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
That can be productive. That can be productive because it can teach us, hey, I need to be going this direction. I don't need to be going that other direction, right? But guilt is also the devil's playground because you can hold on to that guilt and beat yourself up, beat yourself up, and beat yourself up, and beat yourself up, and get nowhere with it. And the only thing you're doing is letting the devil get in you and make you hate yourself and cease productivity, cease valuable things, cease talking to other people, unable to look at other people in the eyes because you hate yourself and you feel guilt, right? When people feel guilty, a lot of times, what do? They avert their eyes. They're not able to make true contact with other people. Why? Because they don't want other people to notice them because of their guilt and how their shame, right? Shame is good, but when it gets to the point where you're self-destructive rather than constructive. I mean, that's the opposite.
Right,
I go with
it. Exactly.
when you get to the point in guilt or shame where you're no longer self-constructive, you're self-destructive, you've entered the devil's territory with it. And at that point, you need to say it behind me. I'm done with being ashamed of myself. We've passed this point, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to look people in the eyes, and I'm going to be the best version of me that I can be. And I don't care about what happened in the past. Yes, it happened, but it's over with. Shut up. And you kind of have to do that with yourself sometimes, because otherwise you're just sitting there at a seat with the devil, and he's not gonna make it a good situation for you. And that's true for your pain. I don't mean to say that if you find yourself being unproductive because you're in pain, blah, blah, blah. No, not at all. But what I am saying is if pain leads you to be in a position where you're hating yourself, you've gone too deep. You've missed the point, right? If you're in pain because of someone else's death, that is good. That's holy. That's a correct response. It's okay. And if you aren't in pain because of someone's death, that's not unholy. It's not wrong. It's just how you experience it. But if you feel that pain, there's beauty in that. There is beauty in that. And there is something important there. But if you've crossed this line where this pain has turned into self-hate, where you've let this come to, oh, I should have done this in the past. I should have done that. I hate myself. I can't, blah, blah, blah. You've let the devil into something that's supposed to be holy. You've let the devil into the temple, basically. Right? That's the most beautiful way I can say it. You're the temple. You've let the devil into the temple, into the actual ritual of the practice of sacrifice, and you've let the devil in, right? Sacrifice, just a quick lesson, Judaism. Sacrifice was for many things, but it was ultimately to connect human to God in a ritual, in a personal way, right? In a personal exchange of experiences between God and the people. And God resided in the temple, and that's where the sacrifices were made, right? And so to let the devil in on that would be really silly, because you're like, hey, God, this is between you and me, making a sacrifice. We're connecting personally. However, hold on one second. I got a friend I'm bringing in. He's the devil. What's up? He's going to be sitting here and talking to me while we're doing this process. It doesn't make sense. Not a good idea. It's not going to be helpful. He's just going to put himself between you and God. So that's kind of the analogy I was drawing. So basically, I don't know if that's helpful, but I just wanted to put that warning out there. And I wanted to put that sense of, hey, it's okay. It's okay if you feel this way. This is good. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. But anyways, I'm going to go over to Joe and see what he's got to say about the topic.
I'm going to take this topic and lovingly hand it to Princess. Who
I can see she wants to say something.
I would imagine, Princess, you have some things you'd like to talk about here?
Yes, though it's not. Anyway.
one thing that I'm drawn to first is the title of Unforgotten Loss. Loss is not meant to be forgotten. And I think that's something that is misconstrued, just like how forgiveness seems to be forgive and forget. Loss is, oh, you move forward, you move on, and it's gone. That's never been really how grief works from what I've experienced. As something I've sent to Joe as a meme picture that I'm sure I'll put in sharing. And I think somebody else has shared on the Static P servers. People tend to believe that grief shrinks over time. But what really happens is that we grow around our grief. Our grief doesn't get smaller. We simply grow bigger and able to handle it better. Because that's a person-shaped hole in your heart. And it doesn't just, see us. We can always, grow our heart and have more room for more people that we invite in and love and care about. But your dad, your father, is always going to have a very special place in your heart, right? And there's probably many future events that you can think of like, oh man, he's not here for this Christmas. I remember these Christmases. Or man, I wish he was here for my graduation. I was really hoping he'd be here because he meant so much to me and he's helped me so much along the way. But sometimes better than to be like, man, I wish he was here, is to think about it as, he'd be so proud of me. Look at where we've gone, and oh, I remember these times. They were so precious to me, and cherishing what you had and stuff. And remembering them and living in that memory just a little bit. Not forever, not getting lost in that. Again, moderation is good, but you can honor their memory and your time together and your grief by allowing yourself to experience it and allowing yourself to appreciate what was there. I don't know if I really have much more than that, but
no, that was helpful though. That was very good.
I felt was important. So
Yeah.
I will turn it back
Thank you,
to
Princess.
Joe.
Yeah, thank you, Princess. That's really important, and it brought to light a thought process that goes in my head. Now, this isn't. We all kind of deal with death differently, and part of life, I think, is learning how we deal with death. I've dealt with many, many deaths in my family through the years, and it's. You kind of start to learn how you deal with it in your own way. And we all grieve differently. I tend to stay by myself, not say a whole lot. I don't gravitate toward people. I'm more of an introvert. I become more introverted at funerals and stuff like that. And I have not lost my father yet, but I've lost people close to me, cousins, and it's not easy. But there's a beauty, and like Ryan was talking about, pain is beautiful. It shows how much we love. And without being in pain, we might not be able to truly express real love, because then the love means something, because we're willing to experience pain because of that love. And man, I'm sorry, grieving is not easy. And I love what Princess was talking about with that jar. She sent that to me at a critical moment in my journey as the things I was going through. Now, I'm not dealing with death so much. We did deal with a few deaths. I had a cousin die of COVID recently, and then another cousin die of cancer within like a few weeks of each other. And so it was a little bit tough for a while. But we do grow, and that grief is always there. That feeling, that sentiment is always there. A desire to be with them, a desire to talk to them again, a desire to hug them or shake their hand or whatever, I mean, but we grow bigger than that grief. And one of the things that I have hung my hat on, and Bach, I know you're a Christian. One of the things that really helped me when I became a Catholic was the communion of the saints. If you don't know about the communion of saints, it's basically, following the biblical principle that when we die, we are actually more alive in Christ. And, that can be a real comfort. And that means my cousin Jim and my cousin Stephen, who recently died, I can ask them to pray for me, and they're up there closer to God than I am. And so their prayers, having passed through death, having passed through this mortal life, their prayers, they have achieved a new threshold of righteousness in being closer to heaven. If maybe they have to go through purgatory. We don't want to turn this into a whole religious topic, but the point is, I can ask them to pray for me. I can pray for them on their journey toward, the beatific vision of God. And we can still be part of each other's lives. And faith can really be an important thing to hold on to in this time. For those of you who aren't religious, that's totally okay. For someone who's not religious, we can think about how, there's nothing that's created or destroyed. It only changes form. That's one of the laws of thermodynamics, right? First law of thermodynamics, isn't it, that energy and matter, nothing is created or destroyed. It only changes form.
I think that's thermodynamics.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I'm not gonna say indefinitely.
Maybe. It's been a long time.
Indefinitely because I'm not a professional psychologist.
Or that's not a psychology
I know.
question.
It's physics.
Like a physics, yeah.
Physicist. I'm not a professional physicist, though I do enjoy physics.
Yeah, it is cool.
Carry on.
Yeah. But what that means is people who are no longer with us, they still are with us in some way. And if nothing more than being in a memory, do you know that memories are real? When we think something, when we have a memory, our subconscious, if we experience that memory with our full being, with our senses, all of our senses, think of smell, touch, sight, hearing, taste, all these senses, right? If we can remember something vividly, our subconscious treats that as a real event. And so it can feel real. And when we remember people, they're never really gone. Sometimes it helps. I'll tell you, Baka. I know this is a hard time. But a piece of advice I got from my therapist. Last time I met with my therapist was the Monday between Christmas and New Year's. And so we had a lot to talk about because it's the holidays, going through divorce, custody battle, going through all kinds of stuff. Christmas is messed up this year. The holidays were messed up. with all that stuff going on. Painful, heart-wrenching, there's all kinds of emotions flying around. We had a court hearing coming up at that point in time. It happened this past Monday. So that was like, we were in preparation for all that, going through the holidays, and it was just nuts, right? And so I was talking to my therapist about all this, and she's like, okay, what can you do to keep yourself busy? And I was like, well, that's easy, because I had 3 guitars that I had to repair that week, right? That was my week to do a bunch of guitar repairs. That was my job for BSS. Get these guitars in working order so we can use them in some recordings. And so I had a whole bunch of wiring to do and fret work to do and filing and sanding and soldering and all kinds of great detailed work that I enjoy. That's the kind of stuff I get into and geek out on, right? You've got something, everybody's got something that they geek out on that can keep them busy. And she said, okay, here's what's going to happen. You've got something to do that you enjoy that you can keep yourself busy with. You're going to have to take a lot of breaks because you're going to get overwhelmed with emotion. It's going to hurt. You're going to cry. You're going to have to take breaks. You might need to go lay down. You might, who knows? But embrace those times of grief, embrace those times of hardship, and allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to lay there and cry, allow yourself to be angry and upset, allow yourself to let these emotions pass through you. And then when you're ready, get back to work and keep working and keep yourself busy, keep yourself doing something. And for me, that was really, really helpful because sometimes being busy can help us. I mean, there's a reason people become workaholics. A lot of times it's because they're running away from something, right? And I'm not telling you to run away from your feelings. I'm not telling you to run away from this grief. Embrace it. Think about the things that Ryan and Princess talked about. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to feel that pain and remember that pain is just love. It's real love. And then when you've allowed those emotions to wash over you and you kind of steady yourself, do something you enjoy. Do something that's productive that you enjoy. And keep yourself going on that for a while. And then, when the emotions come back, which they will, it'll come in waves. Let yourself take a break. Let yourself go. Sit by yourself. Do what you need to do. Cry. Think. Pray. I'd say go outside, but I know you live where it's really, really cold. So I don't know how long you want to spend outside because here in Michigan, it's really stinking cold and windy. And there's snow flying all over the place. Ryan, you probably have not been outside all day, I would imagine, right?
No. Haven't even looked outside.
It is a bad day for Ryan to go outside.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. I will refrain from exiting the building.
Yeah. So, at any rate, Baka, we love you here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever want to reach out on DMs in Discord, you're more than welcome. You are more than welcome anytime to reach out to me. If you're struggling with something, if you're feeling like you need to talk to somebody, DM me. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to commiserate with you. Because maybe you and I can just share some sob stories about what we're going through at that particular moment. Who knows? But, man, that grieving time, that sadness, like we talked about in the first topic, it's a healing endeavor. To allow yourself to break down and cry, to allow yourself to let those emotions wash over you. That's part of healing, man. And when you're not grieving, find things that you enjoy doing that are productive so you can kind of keep yourself busy. But that was the process I had to go through. My therapist was just like, "Yep, it's going to be a hard time." It's really crazy when you have an attorney and you have a therapist and they're both saying, "Yeah, this is really going to suck for a long time. I'm sorry. There's no other way. There's no other way." Because the status quo is not acceptable. And the only way out sucks. It'll prepare you, right? But I mean, seriously, death is the same way. It sucks. It's hard. It hurts. But you know what? You still have memories. I know it's not the same. But over time, just like Princess's meme picture that she sent, we grow. And the grief is still there. The feeling is still there. It just is a smaller part of us because we've grown. But that small part that still hurts, it's proof that we love. And it's beautiful. And again, my heart goes out to you, and you're welcome to DM me anytime. And with that, Ryan or Princess, do you guys have anything else to mention?
Just have a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You at the end of this baka, you said my worst fear is that my graduation is one day before the year mark of his passing, and to be true, I'm just uncertain with the fear of the pain to come. So in short, your fear is with your uncertainty of the fear of pain to come, or rather, you fear the pain that's going to come. And I think Princess did a good job of kind of mentioning, as you go on through life, you'll get stronger, and the pain won't disable you as much. However, I want to touch on the prospect of fear just a tiny bit. I think it's Star Wars. They say there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Star Wars was a very, believe it or not, it was a very Christian movie. It was based on the Christian, what do you call that? Salvation plan movie schematic. And much like Lord of the Rings or Narnia or many of the others. You have a problem in the universe, and it can only be solved by a man, by one man, or a woman, whatever it is, or a group of kids, I guess, whatever. But anyways, there's a lot of good things in those movies that is touched on, and fear is an interesting thing because fear. What is fear? Basically, you're afraid of pain that's going to come, right? That's all right. It's all right to be afraid of the pain to come, but I would say it'd be better to not be afraid of it. I think the best thing you can do is, instead of being afraid of the pain that you're not sure if it's going to come or hit you or not, right? Because you don't know. That's what you're afraid of. You don't know if it's, because fear is usually just unknowing, right? You don't know if that pain is going to have a huge spike on your graduation. You don't know throughout the rest of your life when that pain spike is going to come. Here's what I'm going to say. Being afraid of that is going to do you no good, because whether you're afraid of it or not, it's going to happen. And in fact, if you're afraid of it, it's going to happen more often than if you're not afraid of it, because fear will give you anxiety, and anxiety will bring on a lot more of the discomfort, a lot more pain, and a lot of other things that you don't want coming into your life. So what I'm going to tell you is this. Don't worry or have fear about whatever pain might strike you when it does. Instead, embrace it. If I go through my life afraid of anything that can happen, I'm going to do a whole lot of nothing. because I'm going to do everything with a great deal of caution, and it won't get very far. If instead I say, you know what, I'm just going to do this, and whatever comes, and I'll handle it along the way. It's a way better attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to experience life with a sense of freedom that acknowledges anything that can happen, or anything can happen, but I'm still going to do it anyways. I'm not going to be bound down by my fears. I'm not going to be bound by the what ifs. Instead, I'm just going to do my best. And whatever comes, I'm going to do my best at that. I'm going to do what's good. I'm going to do what's holy. I think that that's pretty much all I wanted to say on that. If you are realizing that you're afraid that the pain might spike, or, you know, those emotions might spike, whatever, during graduations or different parts of your life, I'm going to try to say, basically, don't be afraid of that. Embrace it when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes, you'll handle it when it comes. But to have fear about it is, unfortunately, a waste of time. And I don't mean to be rude. I don't mean to be mean, but I'm just trying to be straight with you so that you can live your life with freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have fear, you are bound by it. You are held back by it. You are not free. It's a lot like the last topic where you're not free because of your attachments. This is also one of those things. Why? Because your fear is in root because of a desire. The root of fear is often a desire.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that desire? Happiness. The root of that, the desire might be not being in pain. I prefer not to be in pain. That's my desire.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can just get rid of that desire and just say, come what may, I'm going to make the best of it. Come what may, I'm going to be free. I'm going to do the things I want to do, not being held back by what I'm attached to, especially when that attachment has fear as one of the mechanics of it, right? Just remove yourself from that. Just say, pain's going to come. In my life, there's no life without pain. Pain's going to come. There's no love without pain. Pain's going to come. And I'm welcoming it to come. It comes if it comes. But I'm not going to go seek it out. I'm not going to go chase it. But if it comes along my adventure, then it will come, and that's expected. But my adventure shall continue on because I'm free. I'm free to do so, and I want to express that because that will bring you much more satisfaction than the opposite of that, than the other side of that coin, than being held down your whole life in bondage by the worry of being afraid. I mean, so many people build up all these walls for social interactions, right? You know about that. You've experienced that yourself, likely, because everyone probably has, where you build up lots of walls, and, you know, and it makes your social interactions weak and unsatisfactory because you're not free, because you're held down by the bondage fear of what they might think of you. And that's going to be it's going to be the same scenario with the fear of pain in anything. It's okay to fear pain, but it's not okay to be enslaved by it. For example, it's okay to be like, I'm not going to run out into the middle of the street right now because it's going to get hurt. It's going to hurt a lot when I get hit by that car that I see right there.
Yeah.
There is a difference between that and what we're talking about. So I'm acknowledging that being logical, fear is not unlogical all the time, right? The desire for pain to not happen is not wrong. It's okay to not want pain. But my point is, ultimately, don't be held back by it. Just embrace it when it comes, because it's going to come, and deal with it then. But don't run and hide from it. And don't live your life in fear of it. Live your life like a free person. Live your life to be satisfied, to be happy. There you go. That's what I wanted to say.
That's great.
Which reminds me of your eyes. So if you want something to help with that in some ways, Haruka's dealing with the fact that she's having trouble facing, you know, what has happened. And for you, that's losing someone. For her, that's she feels responsible that she caused something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But in that same way, don't let yourself hide from it. It's okay to be sorrowful, and it's okay to express that. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice ad there, Princess. Joe actually helped me write the lyrics for that song.
Very little.
Yeah, but you did.
I wrote like a word, and Ryan put that in there.
No, that was more than that.
Okay, 3. But
I think it was Meow, but it could have been somebody else.
I think it was
Also
Meow
had
Widow that said.
mentioned that
Mm-hmm.
in the chat.
It was them.
Well, and you
Yeah, we
guys,
should wrap it up.
between you, Princess, and Ryan, you guys just explained why my therapist's advice worked. You explained the mechanics of that, because it wasn't just running from those emotions. It was allowing myself the freedom to experience those when they came, and understanding that they were going to come, and not to be afraid, but just let them come when they come and handle them as they come. And then when they're past, because they do pass, then get back to work. It's okay. And then when it comes again, you stop again and you handle it, you know. But if you can live like that, rather than like what Ryan was talking about, being afraid of that happening, that, wow, that can be a wonderful, wonderful thing. But even still, there are going to be moments that are tough. And you're in my thoughts and my prayers, and you're welcome to reach out anytime you want. And
your family.
Mm-hmm. But thank you guys so much for being here with us on our first inaugural episode of Don't Worry Wednesday for 2022.
That's right.
Yeah. It was good. What do you think? Was it a good show?
Yeah, I think this is a good
We did
show.
all right. We had a really good chat. You guys were awesome.
You guys were great.
That's
it was
right.
nice to see all of you.
Yes, and it was really, really good to have Princess back again.
Yeah,
Princess.
for sure. Thank you for letting us know Baka had one too. Totally would have missed that.
Yep. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Come back next week when we have another exciting time on Don't Worry Wednesday. There'll be a much better host. It'll be Ryan.
That's not even. Don't even.
It is.
It's so dumb.
I'm gonna even. I'm even gonna.
I'm gonna odd and tell you that
yes.
you're wrong.
Wrong. You're wrong.
Wrong.
I'm not wrong. But anyway, you
You're
guys
wrong.
are awesome. Thanks
You're a better host than me.
Thanks for all your support, you guys. We could not do this show without you. I mean, we could, but it would that'd be weird.
It'd be weird. Yeah.
It'd just be me and Ryan talking about stuff.
It would be.
It'd be entertaining though, because we could get Princess in on it, and she could keep us on track.
Yeah, about what? Nothing?
I don't know. She
Sandra,
could.
guys, do the topic. What's the topic? There's no topic. Let's stay on it. Okay.
Yep. We totally could. It'd be great. But it was great to have all you guys here. It was great to have the crew back together. We put the band back together for 2022. It's awesome, you know. And man, I'll tell you what, we will see you guys on whatever gaming server we see on. I know some of you guys have been on Starbound server, maybe the Minecraft server. I haven't been on either of them very much lately. It's been a rip-roaring, amazingly crazy time. But
yeah,
I look forward to spending some time with you guys in VCs and on Discord and everything. I love you guys so much. And we will see you next week on Don't Worry Wednesday. Until then, have a wonderful, wonderful life. And we'll see you next time. Take care, you guys.
Peace.